Alright, so Luther Blissett was an imaginary artist invented by Eva and Franco. The name Blissett was used by many artists in Europe because with his fame, they could use him to publish their artwork or get it out to the media, and it was a lot easier to go through that name than to try to become discovered on their own. And then the next guy, Draco Mavir, is a fake Syrian artist invented by Eva and Franco also. He the media saw his work as anti patriotic, and he was censored, but in 2000 Eva and Franco decided to reveal that he was fake and to show that the media's perception on reality was not the greatest. And the lives of the artists lead us to consider that, we believe a lot of what we see on TV, a lot of what the media says about different people and whatnot. But in this case, it turns out that the two men they focused on for a while weren't even real. They were two just figments of Eva Franco's imagination. Yet they captivated a whole movement of artists, and it just leads us to think: are there some artists out there right now who aren't even real? That the media is just personifying and leading us to believe that they are more than they actually are. And then, uh, what Eva and Franco would steal is they'd steal bits of famous works of art. Sometimes they'd even steal they would steal fragments, and sometimes they'd even take more, so you could actually recognize that it wasn't their art; it was somebody else's. And the stealing does say a lot about the art world because they took other people's art and then they put their own twist to it. Like they took someone else's art and did what they wanted to do to it, and that kind of makes it their own now. I mean, everyone says that they're stealing their art, but at the same time, if you're taking inspiration from someone else, is that not is inspiration considered stealing also? Because if you're taking, you know, inspiration from something beautiful in nature, are you kind of stealing, God's work or the universe's work? Would should they not get a tie to that instead? And and even Franco distributed their fake newspapers and whatnot, movie posters, because or they knew that reality was not fixed. People would believe almost anything they're told. I mean, they printed fake copies of the New York Times stating that the war in Iraq was over, and that Bush had been accused of high treason, and that the 8 years of the war had been a lie. And a lot of people believed them. And for a while, before anybody else caught on, that was the truth for a while. And it's just because they printed a newspaper that had New York Times written on it, and everyone took that as a fact. No one thought you know, no one thought that the New York Times could be wrong, or anybody would be bold enough to take that name and use it to their advantage in a way. And net.art it produces websites and it also is a stage before an infinite audience. It allows artists to put their stuff online and have a lot of people see it, become more known and whatnot. And even Franco's live sharing is much like Facebook today, because what they did is they let anybody have access to their computer, so anybody could see what they were doing at any moment, and they opened up their lives to everybody, which is kind of what people do on Facebook now. When you go on Facebook and you read the lives of these people who decide they want to put every little moment on their on their Facebook, from every mood they have, every anything they see. I mean, it's almost as if everyone on Facebook or MySpace is doing live sharing because everyone's becoming more entwined with each other. I mean, maybe not to the full extent live sharing was because they gave up bank records and whatnot, but I mean, Facebook to some extent follows the lines of live sharing. And that was my thoughts on chapter one. Thank you for listening.